I wondered where range would be for a lot of other players. I never worried about Andres Gimenez, a shortstop by trade, but man, has he made it look so easy.
Here we go. Jensen Lewis joining us right now, former Cleveland player. Can you say former Cleveland Indian? I mean, that's what they were called back then, so I'll say it. Current Guardians analyst joining us, and we're coming off, obviously, one of the best games we've seen all year. So, Jensen, thanks for joining us. Appreciate the time, dude. We just talked to Canely, so we got the Yankees perspective. Now let's get the Cleveland side of things, because it was probably a little more fun for that fan base. What did you think of yesterday?
Yeah, thanks for having me, Scott. And surreal still to wake up today and realize that it all happened. And I think the only thing I go back to was doing it as a player, as a member of the '07 Cleveland Indian team that beat the Yankees, and that's when Travis Hafner walked us off in the 10th inning there. And that was 45,000 capacity at then Jacobs Field, and it was like a seismic event. Hearing the fans erupt the way they did, pretty similar to what was last night, and just 3 innings of the biggest emotional pendulum swing I think I've seen as a fan. And just to try and go from, okay, we're a strike away from getting Judge and being 3 outs away from getting the win, to Judge hitting a 99-mile-an-hour cutter to the opposite field, and then Stanton hitting the slider. In that span of maybe 5 minutes, it felt as though that was the dagger. And I think the way that this club was able to rally and come off the deck, and I mean, you guys know, I mean, Kratzy and Todd, you guys know that when you're in a slump hitting wise, like it feels like facing anybody is going to be an uphill challenge. So to see what Noel did, and don't forget Lane Thomas's at bat down to 2 strikes, getting the double and setting the stage. I mean, Noel had no homers since the end of August, and he hits the biggest one of his life.
He's a monster, though. He's a huge dude. So, you know what I was thinking about, Jensen, after all the pitch breakdowns and just the moment, was I try and take a global perspective, because we're on for hours every day doing shows on a national basis, right, covering the sport. And the story on Cleveland, especially this year, obviously, is one of the nastier bullpens. Of course, Clase was best closer in baseball this year, comes in and blows the game. Then you have a team that has had some offensive struggles in the past, not as much this year, although the second half was not like the first. And you're like, when's Cleveland going to get pop? When are they going to get outfielders with pop? And to me, like, it's Big Christmas. That's actually the guy that you haven't seen much of in Cleveland over the past several years. Ramirez in a different category, but you know what I'm talking about. That big, hulking slugger who could hit 40 if things go right, could have a hole in his swing, but could be what he was yesterday. Do you think about how maybe Cleveland is finding players like that a little bit more often, maybe?
Yeah, Scott, I think the analogy up here was, could he be the modern day Albert Bell, from what that guy was in the middle of many Indians lineups for years? And, with Noel, I think it was also the organization this offseason saying, we're going to take chances on guys that we've developed. And, for all intents and purposes, Kyle Manzardo had earned an opportunity to make the 26-man out of camp. He finally finds his way up here, with an injury to Naylor, and gets an opportunity to play every day. But I also believe that this system now, for the last 5 years, has figured something out on the position player side. For years, we've known we can develop as far as the pitching goes. But they've found something, and of course, the Stephen Kwans of the world, Will Brennan, and now Noel, and getting power guys to come up. Rocchio has really taken such a large stride offensively at the second half of the season all the way through the postseason. They've found a way to develop from within. And I think they'll look to augment that whenever the season ends, and I hope it's the parade in November, but I think they'll look to take this momentum into the offseason and further evaluate if there are resources outside to bring in.
I gotta kick back against something you said. They figured out how to figure out or find position players, but you said they've always been able to figure out finding pitching. They've only ever created starting pitching. For a while, they would always go out and get bullpen guys. Besides Cody Allen, it was guys they picked up. Have they changed their algorithm? Because I saw the algorithm of what it takes for you to be a starting pitcher in the big leagues for the Cleveland Indians when I was there in 2017, and it was always starting pitchers, and they never really hit on too many bullpen guys. Have they flipped that script since Ruben Niebla, who was the pitching coordinator with the Indians at the time, when he went to the Padres, so that now they're finding bullpen guys? Or is this just they threw a lot of darts at the dartboard and found the best bullpen ever?
Yeah, Eric, honestly, in my tenure there, and Ruben was one of my pitching coaches coming up in AAA, and of course had the great Carl Willis at the big league level there for a couple of seasons. We actually, on that team, and for the better part of the end of the 2000s, had a lot of homegrown bullpen guys. And I'm one of the failed starters that ended up transitioning, to a reliever in the minor leagues and ended up making it. So a shout out Andrew Chafin there, because we all tried the starting gig at one point, and the big leagues or the upper levels of the minor leagues will humble you. I think, Eric, to address kind of where they were in the 2010s and knowing what Matt Blake and Ruben Niebla were able to cultivate, there are a lot of guys that just had two pitches and tried the starting route and it wasn't successful. But I think a lot now in our day of elevated average fastball velocity, a lot higher spin rates of secondary pitches, and also knowing that you're trying to achieve as much with being really, really solid and really good with two elite pitches. And if you get a third, that's great. Case in point, Hunter Gaddis was a starter, did not do really well at the big league level, had gone back and forth. When they asked him to transition, he was primarily fastball changeup. He's added a slider here in the second half and has just become an absolute beast. I think the same can be said for Trevor Stephan, came over from the Yankees. They felt that he'd be better suited the back end of the bullpen. So I agree with you. It's kind of been a compromise where they've done everything they can to do as many homegrown starting pitchers, because we know that's an incredibly expensive asset outside the organization via free agency. And I think they've really found a way to have a couple of these guys be able to take hold, embrace the role, and do quite well, specifically this year.
Talking a little bit, excuse me, about the bullpen, Emmanuel Clase just had a nice little Instagram post there showing all his accolades and his rings and what have you. Let me ask you a question. Guys, he's the best closer in baseball, the best reliever in baseball this year, without a doubt. You think it's getting to his head a little bit, or is it just something he just like, hey, listen, just want to let everybody know who you're dealing with. That's all.
Todd, I'm sure all of us at one point went back to the video room and looked at the tapes and we're like, all right, I remember punching out Jeter and A-Rod, or I remember homering off of Clemens and Schilling and Pedro. You go back through the years and we're all creatures of habit as far as where our mental mindsets are, getting us back into a frame where we feel confident in our ability. I go back to just the division series, guys. When you look at the slider, his second worst he's thrown all year, and it goes for a 3-run homer off the bat of Kerry Carpenter. Something flipped those next couple of outings, and he was back to the menace that he was the entirety of the regular season. And to be fair, the Yankees have had a really good approach. They don't chase, as you guys know, and I think only Shohei Ohtani's the other guy that could have hit that cutter that Judge hit, out of the stadium. I mean, it's just a superhuman effort, and that's what you pay Judge to do. So I think where I would lay my head at night is I would want the pitch to Stanton back. I would want the slider back. And then if I get beat with 102, so be it. That's my A-plus stuff,
Yep.
And that's what that guy's paid to do. So I think he goes with the video, to kind of bring it all home here. Hey, boys, just remember, I've been pretty damn good for the last 3 to 4 years, and maybe that's his own individual way of saying, I'll talk to you tomorrow. I'll be back, and I think he'll be raring to go tonight.
Listen, everybody, we got a major problem here. Half of our viewers are not subscribed. Let's go. All you got to do is click a button. Check it out. Hit that button. The problem will be gone. Let's go.
Looking for recipes to bring the autumn feels? Hello, have you tried HelloFresh yet? America's #1 meal kit gives you over 50 recipes to choose from each week. They pre-portion the ingredients and then they ship them right to your doorstep.
Picky eaters like Scott or people looking to fit a specific lifestyle have met their match. HelloFresh features preferences like fit and wholesome, quick and easy, or vegetarian.
HelloFresh helps me eat healthier and maintain my presence as a popular chef at home with my kids. I'm bringing variety to the dinner table.
Just stop with the endless recipe searching, or you're spending a whole bunch of money on a big jar of spices just for a pinch. That's all you need. You can also get step-by-step recipe cards, making cooking simpler by using HelloFresh.
Get 10 free meals at HelloFresh.com/freeFT. Applied across 7 boxes, new subscribers only, varies by plan. That's 10 free HelloFresh meals just by going to HelloFresh.com/freeFT.
Worries about tipping? I mean, he didn't come back out for that game. He didn't come back out for the next inning. Is there any talk about tipping? Because that's what everyone goes to. Oh, he gives up a home run. He must be tipping. to me, I saw the approach, hey, everything is going to go away from me. As a right-hander, I'm staying that direction. But is there anything of tipping, anything that you've heard or even rumored?
Not really, Eric, and I'll kind of answer it two ways. The first one, just kind of a pitch evaluation standpoint. Was he convicted in the pitch? If that answer is yes, then go to pitch execution. Did he execute it where he wanted to? I think we all can agree that that's a blatant no. And that's why I think tonight you kind of see with Stephen Vogt electing to not run him back out there, knowing he may have to go 3 days in a row. I think that was probably more the idea. I've gone back and looked at some of the video, and to me, it is really similar to not executing the way that he did with the mistake to Kerry Carpenter. So I think we watch maybe a little more tonight. I think the pitch that Judge hit out is just that is just a baller. That's what stars do. And you look at the location of where it was, it's a great pitch. You tip your cap. But I think the mistake to Stanton is the one he'd want to have back. But to this point, Eric, I have yet to hear anything or see anything that would lend me to any worry about tipping.
Jensen, we got a fan question, comment, and a lot going on in our chat right now. So the question here is, it said, Jose told Noel before he went up to remember how Luke Weaver pitched him in the previous game. Jose took a changeup deep, told Noel to sit on it. Your thoughts?
It looked pretty much like that's the one space and part of the plate and speed he was looking at, Scott, because this was an absolute demolition of a baseball. And that's why I kind of brought up the numbers, early in our talk here, that you're looking statistically at it and saying, Stephen Vogt's usually tried to create, a left on right or a right on left. And to me, there had to be something or perhaps a conversation, in the dugout to say, listen, he's our best bullet, man. He's our best chance right now with what we've got to try and turn something around. And that swing path too, he has really, really loved pitches down and especially in, and he's quick enough there, even with velocity, that if it was a heater, I still think he could have done some damage. But I'll take it, man. I mean, that, again, kind of how we talked about Clase, like if you're Weaver, is that the one place you didn't want to miss, especially against him? Maybe an elevated fastball where we've seen Noel as a young hitter chase, and then, maybe down and away, something to get him to expand his zone. Boy, I would want that back if I was Weaver too, because you look at that spot, knowing where you are, and a guy who has struggled so mightily, I would never have wanted to speed up his bat and give him any chance to make hard contact.
He's got platinum on his glove, but can you talk a little bit about the two plays that Andres Gimenez made last night? Like, I feel like that's getting lost in all this David Fry homer, big Christmas homer, because they were elite plays. I know J Ram screwed up the rundown, the pickle play, but can you talk about Andres Gimenez, those plays, but also just what he brings at an elite level?
Yeah, Eric, he's the guy you want the ball hit to in a big spot. And let's not forget Josh Naylor, that basically by the length of his spike, being able to maintain contact with a throw that kind of took his momentum away from first base with the runner bearing down. So that's a total effort from both guys right there. When the rule change happened, fellas, and you had to start with both feet on the dirt, I wondered where range would be for a lot of other players. I never worried about Andres Gimenez, a shortstop by trade, but man, has he made it look so easy. And even the elite plays, guys, he's making it look routine. That was anything but a routine play last night, and especially in that spot. If that throw carries a little bit more, that inning probably spirals out of control, even more so than what it looked like it could have. And so I think you appreciate not only the range from Hemi, but I think you appreciate the athleticism that old big Josh Naylor had there, because without him maintaining contact, I think that inning really could have gotten out of hand.
I think Gimenez he did. He led all players in outs above average, which is my personal favorite defensive stat. So he is certainly living up to it. That's crazy. Good for him. I mean, awesome, dude. We had him on a ton over the last year, too. So really nice, really humble guy, getting the job done. Even when the bat gets cold sometimes for him, the glove is insane at second base, which is a huge weapon. Okay, I want to finish with this on off topic here from the series, just because we have you on and the news happened, a week and a half ago. What do you think of Tito Francona popping up with the Cincinnati Reds? What are people saying about it?
Quick retirement, Scotty. And, I know it's not a real big thing nationally, but the Ohio Cup all of a sudden took a little bit more importance, if you will. I'm obviously kidding on that, but yeah, I think he wouldn't have taken the job unless he knew his health was in a spot where you could handle the day to day, and that was really as big a reason as any of him having to step down here in Cleveland. The guy lives, eats, and breathes it. You guys have seen him plenty. Todd, you know that clubhouse and that mantra down there and that culture. I think he's going to vastly improve from day one. The old stories about him just like being up till the wee hours of the morning trying to figure out what to say on day one of spring training because he wanted to get it right. And he really makes everyone believe that, yeah, you may not make the 26-man, but we might use every single one of you, so be ready. And I think he'll instill an urgency to want to win now and play the game in a manner of what he did in year one. Guys, go back to 2013, his first year in Cleveland. They ran off 10 in a row to finish the year to get into that wild card game. It was instant gratification, and I think Reds fans should be very excited for 2025.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, that's a team that has tons of talent. So hopefully we'll see what happens with them. Hopefully we got both teams rocking in Cleveland. I would like that. All right. In Ohio, I should say. Jensen, awesome to have you on. Enjoy the next one. Okay.
Hey, everybody. Be sure to like and subscribe for more content.
We're back here every weekday, all year long, so do not miss an episode.
The videos are coming in all day. Here's another video you might enjoy.
Baseball the way it should be covered.